y'all, it is Adrian from Adrian's Artistic Endeavors and Kane Creates Boutique. And today I am partnering up with Lori from Sugar Happiness to make these beautiful, edible, delicious watercolor iced cookies. So, you have ordered your kit from Sugar Happiness, and let's unbox it and see what all we have in here. So first we've got our cookies or our palettes. Oh, these smell so good. I really just want to eat them right now. So we've got 4 of these. 3 of them we are going to be using to make the actual flowers on, and then you've got an extra one if you need to like test out colors, or if you like really mess up badly and there's no turning back, then you can start over. You have got your colors here, your watercolor in this palette. You've got another one for you to mix them in. And then you have these brushes. These are great brushes by Wilton. If you're familiar with Wilton, you know they make all sorts of amazing products for bakers and amateurs like us. And then we've got our blending fluid, which may or may not be Everclear. Hey. And then some toothpicks to stir or blend with. And then some supplies that you are going to need of your own is you're going to want to get a cup of water to rinse the brush with, and paper towels to dry off your brush. Okay? All right. Cannot wait. Let's get started. All right, so let us get started. The first one that we're gonna do is this one. So when we're working with this, I treat it like it actually is watercolor. So when I personally paint using watercolor, I use a lot of what's called wet on wet application, where you wanna keep your surface really wet when you put the paint on there, because that allows it to spread. And it keeps that really like lightness quality of the watercolor. So the first thing we're gonna need is our blending fluid here. All right, so I've poured that in. That is gonna be the one that I'm gonna keep as like my clear. And then I'm gonna put a little bit here because I'm gonna need that for the blue, and I'm gonna make a darker blue over there. Okay, so let us open. All right. So the great thing about flowers is that they are from nature, right? And nature isn't perfect. It's not perfectly symmetrical. So the petals can be, kind of blob-like shapes. However, the first thing that we're gonna do is make our circle for our the center of our flower, and we want it to be, a little bit higher than the center. So we're gonna use our black, and I want this to be pretty solid. So, I'm not gonna use any of my blending fluid right now, and I'm using the bigger brush for this, and I'm just gonna paint that in my little circle. Again, don't worry about it if it's not perfect, because we're gonna go around and put like these little dots around it, and that will kind of take care of any imperfections. Then I just use water to rinse these in between. Then I'm gonna get my little smaller brush, and I'm gonna do some little dots. And you can vary like the size and the shape and the placement of these, just kind of however. And as always, feel free to pause this video, rewind, slow it down as needed. Color. All right, so I'm gonna get my clear, And I'm going, oh, a little bit of blue got in there, that's okay. And this is the wet on wet, where I'm gonna lay down this blending fluid first. So I just kind of, like I said, it can be blobby, it's fine. So I put that down first, and then right away, while that is still wet, I'm gonna go and I just start here at the base. And I kind of bring it out. I can already tell I'm gonna need a little bit more clear in here to make this magic happen. There we go. And then I'm gonna go in also with my darker blue. And this will be, put it here at the base. Oh, okay, that got really dark actually. But that's okay because we've got our little blender fluid to help us move that color around a little bit. And you can always go back, like what I'm gonna do, and put some more of this lighter blue in here. All right, so there we go. And we are going to repeat that process. And I like to make this with 5 petals, but you know, sometimes if you like have a lot of extra room, you can put 6 if it makes sense for your design. I'm just concentrating the color towards the middle of the flower. All right, and before we move on to doing the stem, I see a couple of these that I'm not really happy with because this one is like too perfect, right? Remember we talked about nature is not perfect like that. So I'm gonna go in and kind of just do a new little edge for that. And then blend away. All right, so there we have it. Now, sometimes these start to get a little bit dried out as you go, and you can just add more to it. So now we are going to make up our lime green. We're gonna start with our lighter color, which is yellow. Oof, my brush was not all the way clean. Good thing we are just gonna be adding blue to that anyway. And just a little dab of blue. Now it looks dark in there, but it's gonna come out lighter than that. Actually, I wanna add a little bit more to this. Okay, so now we're gonna decide, you know, where, so for me, I'm thinking that I'll have my stem come here, and then maybe I'll just have another one going up through, just like how this one is pretty much. So, starting with my lime green, I'm just gonna draw this line. And then when I start my next line, I'm gonna start from the same place because I want it to look like it's, you know, part of the same plant and it's not just like making a side turn here. And I just kind of see where that would end up going. Can make another little one. Again, start it from the same spot. All right. Now I'm gonna make my leaves. These can make these, you know, pretty easy for yourself. Again, just go with its nature and it doesn't need to be perfect. So make a couple of little ones here, and it's just gonna be an oval that comes to the point, and then it kind of has some roughness around the edges. Another little one right here. Just put your happy little leaves wherever you feel like putting them. Okay, so now we're gonna make this into a darker green by just adding a little bit more blue to it. Put it over here so I can see it. That's the right color. That looks good. And now we're just gonna go over our stem. I like doing this while it's still a little bit wet too, because it gives you that nice like two-tone, because it spreads out. And you can put like, if you want, you know, a little line going into your leaves. Just being delicate with this brush so I can, you know, I'm just using less pressure on the brush so that it makes a finer line. Like that. I think that line got a little bit too much in there, so I'm gonna go get my blending and blend that out a little bit. All right, there you have it. Cute little modern flower. Now, before we start the new one, we're gonna go just clean this out with water and we'll be good to go. Now we are going to move on and do the rose. So as you can see, I've also cleaned out my water along with my tray. And I've gotten a new paper towel here. I'm just gonna make sure these are super clean. Okay, so same procedure. Gonna put some of your blending fluid. That's gonna remain clear. And we're gonna put a little one here for some pink. because all we're gonna need at first is pink. So we're gonna start in the center. We want it to be pretty concentrated, darker. Just mixing up some lighter pink for when we go towards the outside. Put a little of this fluid over here in the next one. All right, and now we've got our more concentrated, darker pink in the middle. So you are gonna start off with just 2 little lines. Okay? Then, after we have those 2 little lines, we're gonna go around them kind of like parentheses, right? Here and here. Kind of make it blobby shaped. You can start mixing this a little bit lighter. Okay, and now we're gonna go with some bigger ones. Leave space in between because we're making this more like modern style. Each time you can just add a little bit more to make it start getting lighter. All right, so on this next go around, we're gonna split it into 3. And they're gonna start getting thicker too. And then I'm gonna go in and start using my lighter one. Okay, and now we're gonna make this into 4. You know what, I want that even lighter. Add more in here. We'll do these last little ones. This one is going to end up with 5. No, I'm gonna leave it at 4. That looks good. And then what I did on this one is I went back in and added a little bit of yellow. You know, it does need one right there. Yeah, much better. Okay, so like I was saying, I went back in and added a little bit of yellow. So let me put a little drop here. I just kind of went and added a little bit here and there. Bit in between the petals, just to make it pop a little bit, give it some depth. And that's cute. All right, now on to the leaves. Hey, I've already got this yellow right here, so I'm gonna add a little bit of blue. That made a nice dark green. But as you can see, we're gonna need dark green and light green. So definitely more yellow than blue in this one. Actually, I'm just gonna go and take from this green. A little bit more. All right, so starting with our light green, how we make these kinds of flowers, not flowers, leaves, is that it's kind of like an S shape and then a curve on the other side, okay? So we'll go here. And I don't really have room to do the, well, I guess I could do them here on these sides. Okay, I'll do that. I was just trying to like make it look more balanced. So we kind of want like this S curve. And then bring this other side to meet it. Mine went off the edge. Whoops. And then while this is still wet, get your green, your dark green. Then I'm gonna switch over to my light green, put it right next to that, and bring that color out to blend it. All right, so now we are going to do this lovely sunflower. I know it looks complicated, but I'm going to break it down for you and it will be not complicated. Okay, clean water, make sure this is all the way rinsed. Okay, same way we started the other two. Blender. Bit here, a little bit here. So I'm putting one well that's gonna stay kind of clear for now, and then I'm putting one that's gonna have regular brown and one that's gonna have a darker brown. All right, so let's add some brown. Use your little map that Lori included so you know what color is what. This one's gonna be our lighter brown, so I'll just put plain brown in here. In this next one, I'm gonna add brown and, oh, I just dipped in the red again. Use your map, like I said, y'all. Brown, and I'm gonna put some black in here to make the darker brown. Again, we are gonna start with the wet on wet technique. So we'll have our clear and we'll just draw a circle. And then we're gonna work from the outside of the circle in. Just kind of layering this up to get different shades of brown in here. I'm gonna get my darker one and go around the outside. Okay, so we want to let that dry for a minute because we want these dots to stay kind of like dots, right? And if I put it on there while it was wet, they would bleed out. I'm gonna start going around the edge here with my brown. vary the, shape, the size, the distance that they are away from each other. Now we get to make some orange. So we will start with our yellow. And the red is like way more pigmented than the yellow, so you need just a little bit of red. That's pink. You can test your color over here if you want to see. Want a little bit darker. Just put a little bit more red. They always look darker in these little trays than when they get onto the white. All right, so now I'm gonna go around the edge of this brown to leave a little space in between them, kind of go with our other flowers that have those spaces. And now we can be sure that that brown is all the way dry, so we can go in with some black. I'm not gonna mix it, I'm just gonna go with some straight black out of the container here and put our little dots here. Concentrate them more towards the outside of your circle. Just put a few in the middle. All right, there is the center of our sunflower. All right, so get some of this. I need some yellow, of course. And I'm still using the thinner brush for this part. All right, so how I do these petals is I draw a line and then I just kind of bring this two curves along the side. I'm gonna do this going all the way around. You can see I'm leaving a little bit of space in here because I'm gonna go back in with like a lighter yellow and fill in those gaps. All right, now that I'm done with the front set of petals, like I said, I want to make this lighter, so I'm gonna add more fluid. Doing the same thing, kind of filling in between. And then what I did on the example is I kind of brought some of those orange dots out. So you can do that too. All right, so that looks pretty good. happy with that. Maybe put a little of these browns. Okay, so now we're gonna do the little flowers going around the outside. And you know, like sunflowers have those like on the back, those little wispy ones that come out. That's why you can see the little lines there. So we already have our yellow. I'm gonna put a tiny bit of blue. A nice light lime green here. Gosh, this fly wants to eat my cookie. All right, and so I did some of them like the same way that I did the roses, and then some of them I just did the little thin wispy lines. So just kind of like an S like we did before. You know what, I want to mix up some darker green too, so I can have that while it is still wet. There's really no like specific number that of leaves or whatever that you should have or shouldn't have. That is all up to you. I like to do it until it just looks kind of balanced. I don't know, maybe I'll just leave it like that, a little bit more minimal than the example. All right, there you go. There's our sunflower. Well, that was so much fun, and I'm so happy that Lori asked me to partner up with her and Sugar Happiness to create these beautiful watercolor cookies. The only problem I have now is that they look too beautiful to eat. Oh well. Oh my gosh. These are so good. Lori is awesome. They taste as good as they look. You guys have fun with this.